Okay, so remember that the idea is that in this case we focus on the product, not the person. Okay, the person is not, let's say, not too important in that case. When we talk about passive voice, the idea is that we focus on the result. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's continue. We can say, for example, Google created this page. Okay, because our intention is to focus on the person. In this case, for example, let's say the company. Google performed an action, created something like a result, this page. But when we use passive voice, the idea is that we focus on the product, on the result. This page was created, and we can include by Google. If we don't know the person, the creator, the inventor, we can omit it. This page was created, and that's it. Se creó una página, punto. But in this case, we have the person, the company who did it by Google. So, in this case, I have some sentences. What receives the action? Okay, we have number one, developers create websites. Number two, designers choose colors. Number three, the server stores data. And number four, programmers test the applications. What is the object person that receives the action? There is a little um, question that we can ask. So we realize, for example, we can say, developers create what? Websites. Designers choose what? Colors. The server stores what? Data. So at the end, that what is the object that receives the action, okay? So when we want to create the simple past sentences, or yes, in this case sentences, we need to use the combination of verb to be, and in this case, it is not just verb to be. We need to conjugate verb to be in present, in past, in future, if necessary, plus the past participle, okay? So, sorry, in that case, we say websites, websites, in this case, like they, in plural, so are created, or colors, again in plural, are chosen. Data, in this case, remember, is an uncountable noun, so data is stored, sorry. And the last one, the application is tested. Again, one application in singular, and the past participle tested. Okay. So far, do you have any question, any doubt? Remember that you can turn your webcam, your microphone, or you can write in the chat if you have doubts. Um, when we talk about passive voice, in some cases, it's better to have an example. In this case, you can analyze the different tenses that we have in the active and in the positive passive voice form. Okay, so for example, in the simple present, we have she writes a letter. So in that case, we can say a letter, okay? We have a letter, in this case is singular, is written, is written. In this case, we already know she. She writes a letter, so we can include it. A letter is written by her. In that case, for example, by her. In the present continuous, she's writing a letter, so a letter is being written. Okay, the combination in this case of verb to be in the present continuous would be is written are being written, for example. In the simple past, we have wrote, it becomes was written. In the past continuous, similar, so we have was writing, it becomes was being written. And so far so on, we have the other combinations. So I always say, an example, sometimes it will be better, so you have a, how to transform the sentences. Okay? So remember, when we use a passive voice, the idea is that we focus on the result. In this case, I want to tell you that a letter has been written, was being written, depending on the situation. But I want to focus on a letter. I didn't mention a person who wrote the letter in this case, for example. We don't know. Maybe we don't care. We don't have the information. In this case, why don't we mention a person? When we use passive voice, for example, maybe because everyone knows who usually does the action, okay? It's something we already know. Or someone, sorry, we already know. Or maybe because the process is more important. We don't want to focus on the person, but on the process. The bridge was built. We don't care the person, the institution. We care about the object, the process. And maybe because we don't have the information, because the author is unknown. Okay? So, remember, in some cases, we need to use passive voice because we want to talk about the process, we want to talk about the instructions, we want to talk about the results, but not about the person who did it. I have a little reading, but well, I don't know if you can help me. In this case, we are going to use passive voice. I don't know if we have any volunteer to help me reading the text.
I can read it.
Okay, go ahead, please.
How a website is built. A website is designed before it is developed. A wireframe is created to organize the layout. Images are optimized before they are uploaded. As well, pages are connected through hyperlinks, and information is stored in databases. Finally, the website is tested before it is published.
It is published. Excellent. Thank you. Great. Guys, if we analyze, for example, in this little article, let's say in this little text, sorry, we have some passive voice verbs, for example. At the very beginning is designed, for example, or before it is developed, like that. Wireframe is created as well. Images are optimized before they are uploaded. In that case, well, in this case of this text, we have some simple present passive voice examples, okay, because we're using is, are, but depending on, we can also use will or past actions, okay? Let's continue. Um, I have two sentences. Maybe you can tell me which one sounds more professional. Maybe you can write in the chat if you want. We have letter A, developers test the website, or B, the website is tested before deployment. Okay. Okay, there we have, for example, Abraham, sorry, it says B. Okay. Guys, in this case, when we use when we use passive voice, it's a little bit more polite. You know, it's more like educated speech. So in that case, for example, in a more professional context, we try to use passive voice. You can notice it, for example, in the news, when we talk about the news or instructions in a manual, we use passive voice as well. Just give me a second. Let's change. In this case, for example, when we talk about IT, why is passive voice common, or why do we use passive voice in IT aspects? What do you think? A, because the person is not important. B, because the process matters. C, because the documents sound more objective. What do you think?
I think C,
Why?
because it's more important to focus on the process than on the objects or the people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Actually, guys, all of them are correct. Remember, when we use passive voice, it's because we don't want to focus, or maybe we don't know the person. So we cannot meet that information. But as well, because maybe in some cases we want to focus on the process. Or as well, we want to sound, or we want the document to be more objective, to be like in a neutral sound of speech. All of them are correct, but remember, when we use passive voice, it depends on your intention, what you want to express. I have some sentences, maybe we can take a couple of minutes, and the idea is that you're going to help me to transform them into passive voice. We have number one, the developer updates the homepage every week. Number two, the system stores every passwords securely. User passwords securely, sorry. Number three, designers created the website last month. Number four, the administrator will publish the webpage tomorrow. And number five, the server sends confirmation emails automatically. Remember to focus on the tenses that we have, as well as in the objects. Try to take a couple of minutes and then we check. Okay, okay. So, what do you think? Can you help me to complete or to transform the sentences? What about number one? In that case, for example, remember that we need to pay attention to the object. For example, in number one, the developer updates what? The home page. Okay, so we take the home page and we put it at the beginning. The home page. We analyze the verb, in this case updates. It is in simple present. So we need to conjugate verb to be in simple present. And then we need the past participle. The home page is updated. Okay. In this case, we can say every week. Or we can include every week by the developer. Okay. We can use by to include the agent in that case. Okay, excellent. Yes, the home page is updated by the developer every week. Excellent. Diego, you're right. Thank you. As well, we have number two. Let's analyze. The system stores user passwords securely. The system stores what? User passwords. So in that case, that is the subject that we are going to use in the passive voice version. Okay, excellent, Diego. Yes, the user passwords, but in this case, the user passwords are stored. Yes, because we talk about many passwords. Okay, so are stored. Mm-hmm. Yes, excellent. Okay, now you change it. Great. Okay, now we have number three. Opa, sorry. Designers created the website. They created what? The website. And in this case, we have a simple past because we have created. Okay. So in that case, we need to conjugate verb to be in simple past. Okay. Well, okay. Diego is writing. Um, okay. But in that case, Diego, okay, the website, just one, the website was created in past, okay? The website was created because we just talk about one website and in simple past was created. Excellent, thank you. Okay, then we have number four. The administrator will publish the new page tomorrow. Will publish what? The new page. In that case, the new page becomes the subject. And pay attention that we use will publish, in that case, future. So, in verb to be, what is the future when we use will? Will be. And we say the the new page will be published. Okay, tomorrow by the administrator, for example. Okay, Diego's writing. Let's give it a second. The web page will be published. In that case, Diego, will be published because remember we have will, we have future. Okay, then we have number five. Diego, yes, but in that case, without is, will be published. No is. The new web page, excellent, great. Thank you, Diego, great. And well, we have the last one. The server sends confirmation emails automatically. Okay. In that case, we ask, the server sends what? Confirmation emails. In that case, we use confirmation emails at the beginning. It is in plural. So remember, confirmation emails, in that case, are sent automatically. If you want to include, by the server. Okay. Are sent. Excellent. Thank you. Great job, Diego. Excellent. Thanks for the help. If you want, you can take a picture because I have, like a summary of the answers. But in the chat, Diego did a great job and he wrote the complete sentences. If you want, you have a little example. Well, yes, a little short version of the sentences here in the screen. Okay. Guys, when we talk about passive voice, I always like to say that we need to pay attention to the steps. First step, you need to identify the object. Step number 2, you need to transform the verb. Step number 3, you need to finish the sentence. Optional, you can include the agent. For example, by someone, by the institution, by the author. Okay? So far, do you have any question about passive voice sentences? I would say if we use this picture, it's a great idea, for example, if you have it as a reference. Any questions so far? Remember, you can use the chat, okay? Envío una imagen, just a second. Okay, it's the same picture. Excellent. Thank you, Diego. Great. Okay, let's continue. Remember, in today's tutoring, we are focusing on units number 7, number 8. In unit number 7, we have a passive voice. And in that case, maybe you need to review a little vocabulary about designing websites, about software requirements. But basically, we're going to talk about passive voice. In unit number 8, as well, we're going to talk about investigation, but in this case, like computer problems, to diagnose a problem, to identify and to find solutions for computer problems. But if we talk about grammar, we're going to talk about present perfect and simple past. I am going to think that you already know the structure of present perfect tense and simple past. Remember that in present perfect, we need to use has or have plus the past participle. I have been, she has read, I don't know. Or in the case of simple past, we use the past conjugation. I walked, they wrote. Or in the case of negatives, for example, we didn't drive, for example. But in this case, I want you to focus, or we are going to talk a little bit about the use. And sorry, because I want to insist but we're going to talk about the intention. What do we want to express? In this case, if I say, have you ever lost an important file, an important document? When did it happen? Let's analyze. We have different answers, we have different situations. For example, we can say, yes, I have. Okay? If I ask you, have you lost an important document, an important file? Yes, I have. Mhm. When? We don't know. We don't care. In that case, we talk about the intention, or in this case, the action, but we don't talk about a specific time. And that is important, guys. When we talk about the combination of present perfect and simple past, we want to express the difference in time aspects. Maybe you can tell me, yes, teacher, I lost my document, I lost the file last semester. In that case, you have time last semester. So you want to include, the detail. Okay, the action happened to me. I lost it, and I have a time last semester. Okay. So in this case, when we talk about present perfect, simple past, remember we want to focus on the actions. I insist, depending on what you want to express. In this case, for example, we have like two columns. In the yellow part, for example, we don't say when something happened. Okay, STH, the abbreviation of something. Okay, so we don't know. We don't say when something happened. In that case, for example, I finished my essay. It's done. I already did it. But maybe I want to focus on the action. We don't want to tell when did I finish. It's already done. I finished my essay. He has left. Okay. In that case, again, we talk about the action. He is not here anymore. He has left. Okay. In the second case, we have, or we want to talk about a past experience or a recent event. She she has won two gold medals. Okay, she has won. We don't talk about something maybe too far, maybe it's too recent. So, or well, in this case, we talk about past experiences, but it's repeated. She has won two gold medals. I've broken my arm. Okay, maybe it was recent. Maybe I'm talking about something happened, like in my life experience. They have traveled a lot, and in this case, a lot, we talk about repeated actions. And the last one, when we talk about unfinished time, he has lived in Japan for years. Okay, he is still there. He still lives in Japan. We don't know when he is going to finish, so he has lived there. Or how long have you been married? Okay, in that case, you express that you have been married and you are still married. In the case of the simple past, in the blue part, in the blue column, for example, we want to talk about, or we want to express that something happened. Okay. For example, in the first one, when did you finish your essay? Okay, when did you finish? I want to know the day, the time. I finished yesterday. I finished at 7 a.m. today. Okay, so I want to specify on time. He left after the game. So in that case, okay, we already know the game finished at 6 p.m. So he left after the game. We already have a time. And I didn't go to work yesterday. In that case, obviously, we have yesterday. We talk about a day. The second one, we ask about or um, we give details. She has won um, two gold medals, for example. Is not too specific because we don't say like when, but we can tell or we can say she got the first one in Tokyo and then she got the second one last year. I don't know. Okay, so we specify. If I say I've broken my arm, we don't tell a time, but maybe I can change it. How did it happen? I fell in the park. I broke it yesterday, depending on. And the last one, we use simple past to talk about finished actions. Remember, in this case, we want to express that the action is already done and it doesn't continue, okay? It's already finished. He lived in Japan for years, okay? But not anymore. How long were you married? Because I know maybe you are not married anymore. So I want to talk about the past. It already finished. How long were you married? Okay, so remember, as well as in the passive voice, the idea is that we focus on the intention. In the case of present perfect simple past, we want to talk about time. If it is something on a specific, maybe something repeated, or maybe it's something that we want to focus on the actions, we use present perfect. But if we want to talk about something that is already finished, that we want to tell you, like um, a specific time, place, or element, so we use simple past. So far, do you have any question? I know sometimes grammar is difficult to understand because in Spanish we don't work like that. But in English, as I say, we need to focus on what we want to express. Any question, any doubt? Remember that you can interrupt me at any moment. In some cases, I just talk and talk and talk, but the idea is that you take a chance to ask, or if you have doubts or if you want extra examples, you can let me know and I can help you. As I said, this topic maybe sometimes we learn by analyzing the situations, by analyzing, the structures. I have some sentences that in that case you have two options. The idea is that you are going to help me to complete with the correct option. For example, in number one, we have lost or have lost. In number two, went or has gone. Let's take a couple of minutes. Let's try to analyze the sentences, and you are going to help me to complete with the correct option depending on if we need simple past or present perfect. If you have any doubts, let me know, please. And then we check. Okay, okay. So, in this case, for example, if we analyze, I already have the answers. You can check there. In number one, we talk about I have lost my wallet because we don't have a specific time. It says I still can't find it. So it's, like unspecific. Number two, she went to Paris last year. Okay, well, in that case, we talk about last year. We have a specific time. Number three, they have lived in London since 2020. Okay, in that case, remember, we want to talk about they have lived and they continue living in London, for example. We don't know if they are going to finish. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Diego. Great. So we can check the answers and you can. Okay, great. You can follow in the chat. In number three, sorry, in number four, we finished dinner a minute ago. Okay, well, in that case, we exaggerate a little bit, but we talk about a minute ago. We finished in past. In the case of number five, he has never seen a lion before. In that case, we talk about a life experience, but it's something negative. He has never seen a lion before. In number six, I met Anna at the cafe yesterday. We have yesterday. We talk about a specific time. I met her yesterday. In number seven, my brother has broken his leg. He is still in the hospital. We don't know or we don't tell the time. Okay, it's not important. I want to focus on the action. He has broken his leg. In the case of number. Okay, let me stop. Luis Diego, I have a doubt with number five. Why not ever? Remember that in this case, remember that it is not passive voice, okay? And remember that either way, passive voice or present perfect, we need to use the past participle, okay? So, has never seen. Si hubiese sido pasado, podemos decir, por ejemplo, he didn't see, okay? He didn't see a lion, porque no pasó en esa ocasión, okay? No tuvo la experiencia. He didn't see the lion yesterday, I don't know, at the zoo. But we talk about something that he haven't experienced in his life, so he has never seen a lion before. Let's continue. Number eight, the movie started at 7 p.m. Okay, so it already started. It happened in the past, so we use simple past. Number nine, she has studied English for 5 years. She continues. We don't know if she is going to stop, but she has been or she has started. And the last one, we have visited Japan twice. We talk about a repeated action. We don't know if we are going to continue, if we are going to do it again in the future. Okay? Do you have any question about the practice? Let's take a couple of seconds. Okay. I know that I insist a little bit too much on, but when we talk about this combination of tenses, remember that if we talk about telling a story, when we talk about something in the past, actions that happened and finished in the past, Generally, we use simple past because we talk about events that already finished. But when we talk about results, experience, for example, or going investigations that are, you know, happening, they are, or we are waiting for results. Generally, we use present perfect because we want to express or we want to make the connection to the present. Okay, so it is like a link. It happened in the past, but it continues in the present. So the action is what matters. In that case, I would like to finish, for example, with the two topics that we have for today's tutoring. Remember as well that you need to check the book. It's important that you check the book because, as I said, you are going to talk about, you are going to review vocabulary about website design, software development, project management. Sorry, investigations related to computer problems, solutions, for example, as well. So the idea is that you try to apply the grammar that we review today and you use the vocabulary in the units. I have a couple of reminders. Please remember that you need to finish quiz number 2 or you are going to be able to do it next Wednesday. So try to remember. It will be on Aprendeu campus from Wednesday 5th to Saturday 8th August. And we're going to have the final written exam. In that case, it will be on Tuesday 18th August. So remember to have those dates on your uh, agenda so you don't miss the points. From my part, that will be it. But I would like to know if you have any doubt, any question about the course, about the evaluations, about the tutorings.
No, thank you. All good.
Okay. I'm going to stay here a couple of minutes just in case. If not, guys, that will be it. Thank you and good luck in the rest of the course.
Listo,
Thank you.
no,
Good
profe,
evening.
tal
Bye.
vez
Take care.
antes de
Yes,
terminar el
yes.
curso, ¿no? Desearle, bueno, agradecerle mucho por la tutoría, de verdad, muy bien explicado, muy al grano y se explica bastante bien. Y no, desearle
Much-
éxitos en los siguientes proyectos que tenga usted. Muchas gracias,
Muchas
profe.
gracias. Igual a ustedes. Muchas gracias. Bye
Pura
bye.
vida. Ok.
Excellent.